Lignum Vitae, written and read by Hette Phillips. Come in through the kissing gate from Barlow Road, the snooker table stretch of greenbank behind us, my gate framed by the dingy dramatic swoop of crash barrier. Come into a burst of open space, the sky bigger than it looked, the hedge to the pub car park standing politely back. Listen, can you hear? The ghostly sound of children playing. It will hit you like a splash of fresh water before you see them, till just beyond the weave of my layered green fences you catch the sight of their little running ricocheting shapes in the kaleidoscope of lunch break. Observe, marooned like an oxbow lake, the former bowling green, now a community space. Do you see the writers' group, sideways in time, belatedly replace the faded plein-air painters of my early days? They are bursting forth poetry like shoots, in starts and spurts, to cogitate my nature and my ways. I must confess that this has got me thinking. I hope you won't think me vain to say, I find the older I get, the more different things I am and I contain. A record of all that is since I became, birthed in brushed-up brass-band flower-bedded splendour, to give the people somewhere to rest and play. And play they have, an overflow of sports, of games or simple chasing, of complex chances, dominoes and gambling, so many forms of association, of memory games and meaning-making, achieved through moving parts or sayings, microdosing fate. And of course they have played bowls here, unspooling their invisible slow paths, released from palms, criss-crossing the green with loops and curlicues connecting. But wait, a player approaches? What's that you hear? Who's there? Behind you to the left, in only the periphery of your ear vision. Clock. Emily, 70, falls into memory, and in with her let us go. It's May, those sweet puff-skirt blossoms already replaced by vigorous leaves. Emily sits, her back to slatted warm wood, soft cotton frock resting gentle against her, watching the woods or bowls. Clack! Over the duvet thick humming summer silence, the understated punctuation of soft puck of rhythm, solid but not sharp, not like the snick of billiards in Grandad's club, not like the thuck of cricket bat connecting with the shiny burgundy orb when she watched Eric play. It's more like the abacus she got for her birthday. She wiggled her feet in their baby pink sandals, the wood stiff and slippery, like sliding in your socks on a parquet floor. A low ooh of appreciation moved through the crowd as the dark sphere whirled like a snail shell up to the squat slaty balls as familiar as kettles. It was like tiddlywinks or marbles. Granny said sometimes, "You've lost your marbles, Jim," and it made her and Eric titter. She loved their marbles, each one a tiny world. One a thick cloudy red all through like Mars, the colour of tomato soup. Most of them with a twist inside, blue or yellow or green, winking skittering glimmers over the room as they moved. Here, worn soft paper rustled against her leg, Granny was passing the bag of coltsfoot. She put 2 in her mouth at once, not the approved, 1 at a time, and sucked happily, eyes half closed, sleepily hearing them clack and chink against her teeth and each other. In her now, through the then, Emily hears Sandy, golden retriever mix, heady in smells, snuffling the leaf-carpeted tunnel, huffing out air, seemingly in surprise. Someone is walking up ahead. Under her nearly not there feet, a twig breaks. Snap! Here is Sean, and he flinches, wincing, high alert, bat-sonar eardrums shivering sensitively to the huge open arena of potential dread. A radar dish drinking the whole world to taste the location of any enemy. But his biggest fear is more of a terrifying friend. Come with me into the dark of his listening ear, into the dark that listens. It is the sounds that mark the start of it. Sometimes a flickering, chittering whine lying in bed at night. Other times it's a booming, moving, subwoofery slow throb, like the thud of air through a car window on the motorway. And then, when the man made of darkness appears, it dulls and fills to a slow, appalling roar, like a recording of a building falling but slowed right down. This is the sound that opens Sean up like a cavern and fills his newly expanded capacity for pain like concrete around nuclear waste. And all through that hideous enfolding and closing, a staticky prickling like the air under a pylon, sizzling like meat in a pan, like insects clustered all over. He doesn't know what the man looks like. He is just a presence, a shape, a feeling of pressure, intolerable imminence in a wide-brimmed hat, concentrated darkness with two blazing laser-pointer eyes. He is the weight of the universe balanced on two pinpoint fingers driving into Sean's chest. In the now of the sound, he scans my trees, the stick-bristled twigs reeling, fanning the sky edge like eyelashes. A slurry of small sounds still gently sloshes in his ears, like swimming pool water he can't get out. He makes himself think about his breathing. In, out, in, out, like the sea. In, out. He thinks of James's face, his slaty indigo eyes, his kind freckles like a trail of breadcrumbs. He'd tried telling James about it, and James had said he should see a medium. Sean said, "I think I'll need more of a large at this rate." James hadn't even laughed. It hadn't been till Sean saw the look on his face that he started to get scared in real life. James said that he knew someone who was into demonology. Sean should talk to her about it. Sean stuffed the suggestion down in him like a linty ball of receipt in a coat pocket. Yeah, right. He couldn't even tell a GP. He couldn't tell anyone. Not after he'd seen James's face like that. He started going out for walks more. It felt safer to be moving and outdoors, especially in the evening. Those long insomniatic nights. But after so many nights away, with no explanation, James had asked him, "Are you seeing someone?" And Sean had laughed right in his face. Well, you could say that. That probably hadn't helped. Thinking about this was grim, but it gets his mind off scanning the air for threat, for any noise out of place. A man bustles past with a fast stride and a hefty bundle of placard-free Palestines. Sean pays him no mind, gnawing at thoughts. He is just wondering if James will have taken the last of his things. A sad box with some tatty books and an even more dog-eared spider plant that he'd never once been the one to water. When everything hinges and collapses in on itself, he hears it as he passes the play area, on the home stretch. Ice splinter up his spine, through his brain, standing stock still in revelation. He has never heard him speak before, the man his mind has made of night, but he knows like he knows his own name and where his feet are, as soon as he hears him, that this is exactly what it would sound like. Sean, don't worry. I am coming. I am coming to you. I am bringing you a sign. I am very nearly with you. Start the gathering without me. If, like me, you are the air as well as the land and all that's between it and all that passes through, then you will have already seen Cammy just moments before, reading the word John as it flashes up on his phone. No photo, Cammy doesn't know him that well. He's only been coming to the weekly Thursday vigil for about a month or so. And there are 2 missed calls already. Wrestling his load to jostle out phone to shoulder holder it to his ear, he is warm and irritated with effort. This John, or Jean, in Cammy's semi-French inflection, that shifts into Sean's own name as it reaches his distracted, hypersensitive eardrums, is a bit of a fusspot, isn't he? Cammy speaks firmly, clearly. He is nearly there, and it isn't even 5:05 yet. The cardboard of Cammy's hand-painted signs is unwieldy, breezes snatching at their edges, separating the pieces as they slither apart from one another. And some of the paint had not been as dry as it looked, leaving a trail of splotches up his sleeve and onto his keffiyeh. But he wedges the stack under his left arm, and if he keeps it clenched against his side with his hand jammed in his pocket, it will all be okay for the few minutes it takes to get to the village green. He would rather just get there as fast as he could than be mithered and fussed about meeting part way. He slips his phone out of his free hand into his pocket and reaches for the gate. Creak! A musical, metallic turning noise, like a very short snatch of calliope organ, circus and muse. The flashing carousel of men's faces, a Wurlitzer of standard poses, halts in Gail's hand. She slides the remainder of the other half of her cheese sandwich back into its cardboard pyramid and holds out her phone to Poppy, who is busy picking the tomatoes out of a BLT and lining them up along the edge of a green metal picnic table. Oh my God, would you look at him? Why? He's so handsome. What? That's nasty. Disagree. Is that a wet look flame print mesh top? I mean, I guess. He looks like a magician with an HR disciplinary. Shut up, Puppy Spencer. He looks like, spiritually, he ought to have a goatee. He looks like he does palm readings at wakes for tips. Is that even a thing? It's not, like, a career path. So you're saying he invented funeral fortune telling? I'm saying he's a goth dog. Strongly disagree. What was the name of that bloke sold mood rings and Afflecks for a bit that you went to that weird circus-themed club night with? Got his nose ring caught in the safety pins on Shelley's leather jacket you borrowed. Cameron! Nose pliers, Cameron. That's it. What's he up to these days? It's not him. This guy's called Phil. No, I'm saying you have a type, that's all. A really excruciating type. What are you doing? Puppy has finished the tomato arrangement and is scratching something into the green paint with a metal implement. Oh my God, would you look at him? Ramon pulls his hood down further over his face. He feels himself shrinking inside his coat, its silver studs no armour, his insecurities swelling and distorting, his nose ballooning to the size of a traffic cone. Look and see, his limbs are stretching gangly and awkward, his belly expanding, while the he that was himself dwindles inward, a speck, a protozoa. The girls he passes exhale in swirls of scented danger. He strides across the park's football pitch, hardly distinguishable by sight from the rest of the grass, just the open-throated gull mouths worn to sandy mud. Ramon thinks of previous summers, how the other kids would sit on top of the metal nets. The girls would. He wishes he could have been someone who would have climbed up there, looking cool and carefree and poised. He had always felt too clumsy, too heavy, too unpopular. His hands are deep in his pockets. He doesn't see Emily until... but he bows out, backwards out of her way, stretching like a funhouse mirror. Sorry, he murmurs, wrong again. Emily departs the path, calling back, You're all right, love. taking her walk with Sandy again, the same daily way, hearing from within Bluebell Green a rhythmic sound, the blade of a spade in earth now shucking, the tempo of someone working. She ruminates as she walks, the familiar landscape passing through her like water through a grate. The bars of the fence in stripes disclosing grass and garden, trees and weeding, logs, pond, shed and polytunnel, playing hide and seek. The voice of monthly Sundays writing conclaves ripples in me, saying, "Try and list as many different things as you can that you can hear around you right now. For 5 minutes, I'll set us a timer and... Now." The bowls light click again, of children with stones, ribbons hanging from the trees, with ribbons of voices all through, high and mingling. Metal jazzed and clanged, a colander in the mud kitchen. And then the loose, flop, blop, wop, oop, looping from the far corner of someone dropping rocks into the pond. But wait, take heed. Something bursts into being like a chrysanthemum of light. David Meowie, the cat with the different coloured eyes, swaggers onto the path, taking the stage. The hexachromat Zap sat on the cat. But in a trice, hark, awaken, Sandy's bark is reverberating, and David scats. Into the undergrowth, contracting, to the chiffing, agitated riffing of the audience of birds that has till this moment been hidden. This cat is a prism. His elusive plume of tail upblooming signals to Sean, emerging then eluding, as to and from a trapdoor. Sean senses a light, each nerve athirst for meaning, sees an aura around him, listens out for speaking. The cat stays silent, but he could imagine it talking in an aristo's cut glass horta. Bleeding obedience he falls in. His master of darkness has returned to him only twice in the night. He had lain under the immense psychic weight of his gaze and felt a certain satisfaction. He had assembled the fragments, completed the gathering. He was ready for the next part of his mission. His inventory, a feather, black and white with bluish shine like oil. An empty azure lighter, stripped of metal. Bone of an animal, and I knew the shrew. A tangle of long silver plastic strands scented of petrol. One tiny glove in pinkish wool. A scrap of an old map on a waterlogged page of some booklet. Speckled pattern of soil, shaded box of building. The italic legends reading, the rope works, the bleach works. He's sure they do. The next, the last, will be his favourite, will be how he knows he has finished the task. When he sees the white cats, he feels it like a message. The man of darkness and his creature of light. Sola familia. He lets it lead him till it disappears like a candle snuffing out. In the ground where that last phosphorescent paw had touched, there is something, a difference in texture. Still dim in the green shaded undergrowth, still dark within its brethren earth, but different, like a wellspring of unexpected water. He touches it with his fingertips, smooth, cool, solid. Scrabbling with his nails, he raises it, blazing into light, casting itself all around him like a cacophony, a fanfare of scintillating fragments. A decanter stopper, caked in mud, winkled into a flaw in the crystal, a vagabond portal. From the antiques village, or the houses at the back's rubbish, the Bluebell pub, or the old pavilion long pulled down. I scatter glitter litter of sounds around him, confetti treasures, my sonic echoes, of laughter, of low hum of sociability. Oop, uncorking sound of the decanter, ulp, ulp, ulp of flowing spirits. Like me, all objects retain a flavour of their use. Emily, completing another circuit, passing out of the gesture to a hedge maze of two-sided tunnel of leaves, sees the man from ahead, stooping, raising the lit lid of lost gloss to look at it. She remembers a decanter stopper, the chink noise of replacing it, the pretty homespun magic of looking through it to see a million little versions of the world all superimposed on one another. She had found it too, hadn't she, when she was small? One with a chip, and it had been put to one side, and she pocketed it for her treasures drawer. But she must have lost it some time. She can't remember. Where is it all those old objects go? To a junk shop heaven? Was it after her granddad moved to the old folks' home? It must have been. She thinks of Grandad Jim, with bowls in hand, the triple dots like a ladybird, fly away home. The sound of it connecting, even though it had been rare, far rarer than the endless fidgety silence that made her want to squirm, that when Granny was round sometimes would swipe at her for, but never enough to hurt. She wonders why that one sound lingers with her, lodges in her, to carry away unseen a burr, a seed. The sound of them connecting that in a moment evaporates off the hushed, thickening silence. It isn't loud, but compared to the quiet before, its audacity is shattering. Grandad Jim had found her, Granny Enid, on the floor, in the kitchen. Painless, instantaneous, the doctor said it would have been. But Emily felt the sense of her granddad spreading away and dwindling, like the branches of a tree, becoming the quiet man she had known from then on, a liveliness gone. But still his patience, his eye for detail, his long shots that curved round from directions that could not, by observers, be predicted. She couldn't help feeling a player's hand, a presence, an intent, in that shattering quiet click that took the life they'd lived together, and Jim still carrying on another 10 years, apart. I want to tell her, he is here, he is in me, and Enid too, and their parents and their siblings, but no. The bowls used to be made of Lignum Vitae, a wood from so far away, and in each still the dormant hum, the ghost of its own Barbadian growing, now rolled in my et in Arcadian echoing. The wood was used for many things, ships' pins and submarines and truncheons, holding the empire's deep and dredging reach, cures for man's aches and for his ailments, and balls, of course, for various entertainments. Its name means wood of life. I flatter myself that even with my few trees, that is a fitting name for me. Later, they were made of composite plastic, a mesh of merged and moulded materials. I too am made of many mergings, and even love in its star-crossed convergings have found their nested setting here like jewels. Strangers' encounters in shaded leafy privacy of my prim suburban bowers, or my long-gone tiled public conveniences fling, swains' bouquets from forages of flowers, to once even the captive sunburst of an engagement ring, one need beneath the Valentine card pinkest of my blooming trees, and of course of countless families, each version of each child in overlapping snapshots. I am the doorframe, the wall, whose height marks palimpsest is on every dendril layer of paper. The ground tilts under her just a little, and she feels a little faint. Grasping Sandy's lead, its elasticated payout whirring away, she hurries to the bench to take her weight, as the world drops out from under the past, curling round, curving, in one long, smooth, sly, underhanded motion, gently, gently, gently. How ridiculous to be thinking here what she can't at home, In her porch or at Inspire, in her garden or round Sarah's, or in her cosy kitchen with the lovely hand-painted red and blue tiles. She laughs to herself a little. A stopper. Well, we all come to a stop. She smiles bravely at the young girls traipsing by with their meal deals clutched in their arms, not a bag for life between them. Do they have different sandwiches today? Let's see. They do. Tuna for Poppy, and for Gail, egg mayonnaise. They sit on the wall like some ancient fortification still poking through into peacetime's eons far removed. The duo of benches and picnic table are in use. It's weird how there's so little benches, isn't it? And the ones there are basically on top of each other, says Gail as they sit down. Did you see the guy at the table? Asked Poppy. I didn't really notice. How's Psychic Funeral doing? Gail sets her mouth in a firm line, but her eyes are laughing. If you mean Phil, he's perfectly fine. Not gotten barred from any wakes yet, then. Had up under the Witchcraft Act. He works in an accountant's office, as well you know. I bet there's definitely some occult accountants. I suppose Alistair Crowley still had to pay his taxes. Occult's exempt from taxes. How should I know? Well, you could ask Phil. We're still messaging. I've kind of gone off him a bit. And it's 2 buses out to where he lives. Days later, finding Poppy's trail of engravings. Here is Ramon, in pride of place, there at the one and only table, tracing the etched-in meanderings on the picnic table surface, to find they spell Hail Satan, almost hidden, scratched amid a bramble-tangle pattern of sigil and symbol, of eyes with stylized long spiky lashes, inverted crosses, a skull, and a vague semi-floral whirl of curls fanning out and around like a mildly threatening doily. Over his shoulder, do you see, walking towards us? Over the grass here comes Sean, from a corner of the fenced-off garden that lies behind the cherry trees, a wiry man in navy, trousers, jumper and coat. He looks neat and sensible, but nervy. He is holding something up to his eye, but Ramon hardly registers this. Sean carries on past, no nod, no comment, but as he passes, refracted spits of light hit Ramon's eyes. All his attention is caught in an infinitesimal second, and then, in gormless wonder and incoherent discomfort, he feels an almost avid urgency. Watch the laser speck move up him, from arm to wrist to chest, like a red dot sniper rifle's tracking over his heart, leaving its tracks on him like tiny footprints, the chemicals of ants, a contagion of excitement. In its final flicker, before it leaves, it highlights the graffiti that he has been worrying at with his chipped black nail-tipped fingers like a rosary, been feeling the lines of like a braille map. In the centre of the busy doodle is an 11-digit number and a stylized eye. And when that rogue sparkle hovers in its iris like a wink, that clinched it. He wavered, savoured the moment of doubt tipping into certainty, like a microscopic landslide. It must be fate. He would never ordinarily have wrung it. He saves it to his phone for later, snaps a picture, marking the occasion, slips this part of me inside him to take us with him home. Gail sees the flash up on her phone and pauses Netflix, rewatching an old film, Sleepy Hollow. She would never usually answer a number she doesn't know, but Poppy has been saying something about she's going to have to borrow her brother's phone for a bit. She presses the little green symbol, and suddenly some guy is talking, and he's saying, of all the things a person could be saying, "Hi, is this some kind of demonic hotline?" "Excuse me?" It says this number in the park with the words, "Hail Satan." Or it could say Gail Satan. Is that your name? What park? Chapel Street, which is ironic, unless you're from the Church of Satan. I am going to kill you, Poppy Spencer. What? Nothing. Do you mind me asking, what colour is your hair? Is it dark? In his own hollow, brief sleep not recognised on waking, Sean is agitated. He is anxious. He is cold. He didn't mean to stay here. And he is lost, but not in location. He knows where he is, but not why it is like this. The park is darker than it should be. He has missed some time. It was day a moment before. Should he be frightened? Is he displeased with him? With what he's brought him? Is this why he's surrounded him? Why dark has come so early? The winter evenings clocks back early closing, eerily losing him in time. Cammy, coming from vigil, mind raw with horror of another week of slaughter, treads homewards. Here's the quiet fall like water, a sparkling dark that builds like an invisible snow. His chest still feels the chant's echo, though here in me is quiet, fuzzy and bird-rustly with evening. Blackbirds chiming out from pools of gloaming, pealing like tiny bells. I drink them in shrill sips of living, and breathe out something quite like silence. A long soft sigh, mingling with the wind, as it caresses all my sky-pressed tingling tendrils. In Cammy's heartbeat, I hear the drums that have boomed out from my own penned-in heart, rolling through the empty residential streets in rainy Sunday fundraisers, bringing such unfathomable spaces, tolling out, extolling globally to local solidarity. A long time from my bandstand days of martial tunes and tunics military. What is near and what is far to me? All things without me are outside. My awareness leaches into numbness at my gates. The chippy, churches, swimming baths and station, to me, are practically fables. But all that passes through me I ensnare, like resonating amber. Every worried phone call in every mother's mother tongue is part of my becoming. All read, all felt, all whispered, yearned for and arranged, within me lives on in me forevermore. I cannot pick and choose, forsaking. It seems, in fact, I am an us, a we. Cammy walks up behind Sean. Sean, who stands as still as a tree, as if rooted, wary, staring. Cammy, who is tall and reassuring. With branches behind him, he resembles the silent dignity of a stag. Before I existed, there must have been such things here, roaming the land that would become me. I think of my own beginning, before the iron railings, before the paths were laid. I think it was a gathering began it, a space, a clearing, a holding, a henge. Something was between then, just as something is betweening now. I feel it, reaching filament-thin antennae twig fingers, a listening touch. But no, we mustn't interfere. Instead, let's watch through Sean's eyes how in the street lamp glistening rough of mist-damp filigree, Cammy looks to have a halo, moving and twitching around his head, swirling like the sea. Cammy holds out his arm, grey tweed sleeve, and Sean dumbly takes it, accepts his gesture. It is so reassuring that it takes him a moment to understand this man is speaking, repeating something as evenly as a chant or litany. The sense of it seems to come to him slowly. He tunes in like a radio station, and this is what Cammy is saying. It's okay. Are you okay, mate? Come on, where were you headed? You're okay. Don't be frightened. Come on, you're okay. Cammy's voice is calm and resonant as a lake. His words seem to cleanse Sean, not to require a meaning. The voice of a tree falling, a tree growing in a forest. A forest will hear you fall.
Lignum Vitae, written and read by Hette Phillips, with music by Oscilloscope, and the series editor was Richard V. Hurst. You Are Here is produced by Levenshulme Old Library. It was commissioned by The Space and made possible with support from Arts Council England.